Okay, so today we have a Sony tc-k1a cassette deck. It has no line fuse in the AC primary, so we're going to put one in for fire prevention and also for protecting the unit in case something shorts out. It will blow the fuse before a fire starts or causes damage to the electronics. Okay, so I'll show you why I put this fuse in. Your typical house fuse, see the size of the filament inside that fuse there? I'll zoom in on that. See how big that is? That's a 15 amp. And this is a 20 amp. See how large that filament is? And the fuse that we're putting inside the tape deck there, I'll have to zoom in again on that. See how very fine that little filament is? So if something shorts out inside the tape deck, after I put this fuse in, it will burn this fuse out before it causes damage to the electronics inside and possibly start a fire by shorting out the power transformer and the cord overheating. These two house fuses are equivalent to your 15 or 20 amp household circuit breaker. And this is the block we'll be putting inside the unit. See the rivets on the bottom there, how they come through? We're going to be putting a plastic divider under it for isolation to isolate it from the chassis. So if you put a fuse in a stereo component, consult with an authorized service center before you do so. So I'll cut this little zip tie off without cutting into the wires. And here's the little cap we're going to cut off here. And we'll pull this cord back. And we have a hole right up there where we can mount the fuse. So we're going to use rosin core solder. Rosin flux. We're going to need wire strippers and pliers. So first we'll take our sandpaper here. And we're going to sand this terminal here so we get a nice solder connection to it. I'll strip the wire here. Wire got a little tarnished under there, so I'll cut that back slightly. That looks nice and clean under there. I'm going to clean my tip. Okay, I'm going to put the first wire in the hole. I make sure all my strands go through the hole and nothing's sticking up. I take the pliers and I shape the wire there. Put some flux on it, on the top and the bottom. Put some solder on my iron there. And I'll heat both the wire and the terminal. Let it get a nice flow. I don't like how the strands moved, so I pushed them back with my iron. I'm going to put some more flux on here, a little more solder on the iron. And I'm just going to make that look a little bit better. There. I'm going to take that off because that doesn't look that good. I'm going to push that up a little bit. I'll just pull it right out and start over. I'll clip that off. Yeah, I'll cut it right off and start fresh. Okay, I'll twist these strands together. I'll put them through the hole, make sure all the strands go through the hole. Okay, I'm heating the wire and the terminal. There, I got a nice flow through on the bottom and a nice flow through on the top. So now I'm going to twist these strands together here. I'm going to put them through the hole. I'm just going to look, make sure no strands are poking through on the bottom. And they all went through. Okay, so now I'm going to shape them down in there. Okay, I'm going to heat the terminal and the wire. Nice flow through on both sides. Okay, so now we can mount this little block in here. I'm going to see where I can fit it. It's not going to fit here, so I'm going to put it on a hole that's up here. So I'm just going to take another look at the back here, make sure no strands are sticking out anywhere. I'm going to have to get my flashlight because my vision's not that good when it's dark. Okay, all the strands are through on that one. All the strands are through on that one. Okay, so now we can slide this in under here. Okay, this is going to fit under there. So I'm going to bend this terminal up. I'm going to bend this one up. I'm going to just tuck this back in here, make sure it's going to fit. It's going to fit in there nice. Okay, so this is regular standard electrical tape. I'm going to put a few layers of tape under this. I want the tape to be on there nice and even with the other layer. I gotta poke my hole through the tape there. I'm gonna put the tape facing down. So I'll put the block onto this piece of PVC, which is going to isolate the rivets from the chassis here, and I'll start working this down underneath here. the block all nice and lined up there. Okay, looks all nice and even. So I can went all crooked, so I have to loosen it a little bit. And there it is, all nice and even. So I could get the wires all tied back up again. And we'll use a little zip tie for that. I'll clip the little zip tie off. Make sure I don't cut into a wire there. I'm going to get these wires up away from the okay, there's some low voltage wires down here. I want to get them up away from the fuse block. So they're not touching anything that's 120 volts. Again, I clip, make sure okay, another zip tie. Oh, I keep losing that thing. Again, I clip the end of the zip tie off, make sure I don't cut into any wires. Look everything over, make sure it's all nice and together good. Okay, so we're going to put our fuse in this block here. It's in a tight little spot there. Right here is the solder joint from the line cord. And right there is the solder joint from the wire from the power transformer. So without that fuse, if one of these 4 rectifier diodes go bad in a shorting condition, it can overheat the transformer and it can start burning up the windings. But with the fuse, it'll blow that fuse before this gets too hot and the windings could overheat and possibly heat the line cord up and possibly start a fire. So that is the reason I put this fuse in here, and it will also protect the circuitry if there's a problem with the primary side of the power transformer. So here is the front of the unit. I have a tc-k1a and it looks very much like this. But on the tc-k1a, the board is facing down and the solder side is facing up. And there is the play record head. Looks like a very good quality one. It's a ferrite head. Thanks for watching.